Yay! All right. So happy Monday. I am live on a couple different streams. So over on this side, I have the TikTok. Hi, TikTok. Then over on this side, I have LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. How amazing is the technology that we have today? So I hope everybody is having a great Monday, but thanks for joining. We'll get started here in a couple minutes. I'll wait for everybody to get on. For those who are just joining, I've got a few people over here on TikTok. We're going to be discussing Florida Panhandle politics today and talking about what's going on in our area, in the state of Florida, as well as, well, the local stuff. And the local is what matters. A lot goes on locally, and we need to know what's going on. So excited to be here with everyone today. And this is my caffeinated cherry cola sparkling water that I found over at the Target. So how's everybody's day doing over here on TikTok? I don't have anybody yet over on the other ones yet. Oh, somebody just popped in. Hi. Thank you guys for joining. We're going to talk Florida Panhandle politics here in a couple minutes. We'll get started here in another minute, get people on, joined. It's such a good day. Happy Monday, everyone. So where are the people from TikTok? Where are you guys located? Are you here in the state of Florida? Are you here? Okay. Awesome. Good to see that. And I know my nose is going to start running. My allergies, I think we all love our allergy season. I always keep tissues around for the funness. So thank you, everyone, for joining. We're going to talk about Florida Panhandle politics today with Cherie. So I guess it's been a little while. I used to do a bi-weekly show about Panama City Beach and my run for city council, as well as other things going on here in the Panhandle of Florida. Well, we are back at this point again. I did not mean to let it lapse, but I am back, and I am now back weekly, every Monday at 5 o'clock. Please join in. We're going to talk about Florida Panhandle politics. We're going to talk about what's going on here in the state of Florida, because I'm tired of the hate, fear, and greed, and I know that a lot of people are out there as well. When I talk to people who are in different states, they really want to know what is going on with our governor and the hate in our state. And I say this out loud to them. Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining over on TikTok. I say to them, the hate in our state is not being driven by all the Republicans. Because I will tell you, here in my area, the Republicans will tell me, we are not for this hate. And no, nobody's going to join my live, but thank you for trying to jump on. So I actually, somebody asked a question, what school do I work at? That way I know not to send my kid there. Thank you, Cherie. I actually am a mentor in schools, but I don't teach in schools. I teach a college, which is even more fun, right? So with all of this being said, every Floridian deserves the freedom to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. And so when you think about those words, and this is really where I want us to think, right? What does it mean for every Floridian to deserve the freedom to be healthy, prosperous, and safe? Every Floridian, not just some, right? And that's where I think we get with this us versus them culture. So we're going to talk about a little bit of that tonight. So I know that kindness is our path forward. You'll see I got my Be Kind back here. You'll see up there. I know for y'all here on TikTok, you can't see it as well, but I'll go ahead and pull it up. But I've actually written the business case for kindness. I truly believe that kindness is our path forward. I know it is. I know that kindness is what will help all of us be better. And I know that here in the state of Florida, in the name of hate and control, many bills have been processed here in the state of Florida. So who out there knows about the bills that have been going on? You know, are you paying attention to the local politics? So, oh my, Mark wants to know if blackface and transface different, both use makeup and mocking. Okay, I don't know what's going on, y'all over here. Blackface and transface. Right there is absolute bigotry that didn't need to come up right here on the TikTok side, whether or not that's what they wanted it to be. That's a huge dog whistle, which is kind of interesting. We're going to talk about some dog whistle politics tonight. So here in the state of Florida, do y'all know there's a 6-week abortion ban? But there's also the 15-week abortion ban that is has not finished going through the courts. So once the courts decide that the 15-week abortion ban is unconstitutional, which it is unconstitutional, that'll automatically make it so our 6-week abortion ban is unconstitutional. Now, I did go and speak to my senator and my representative about this bill. And I asked that we not do it, first of all. But number two, can we have human trafficking added in? Didn't work on the rep side, but it sure worked on the Senate side. And I want to thank Jay Trumbull for adding in human trafficking to this horrendous bill, right? They only had rape and incest, but they didn't want to put in the human trafficking, even though, and I know it's kind of hidden under here. Here in the Panhandle of Florida, if you're not aware, guess what? We're number 1 in child human trafficking. And that isn't being done by the LGBTQ community that I know a lot of people want to try to call pedophiles and groomers. It's being done by good Christian men. And that's the great part. So, all right. The float got somebody on here from Southern California. I can't imagine living in a red state. I have deep empathy for what you're going through. Well, this is, as a country, this is civil rights, right? We are back to that point that we are at the civil rights point. Go Florida. Yes, if you like Florida taking away your rights, absolutely, Florida's the way. Because number 1, women's rights are being taken away. Number 2, drag shows. Please, I have been to so many drag shows. There are adult drag shows, and then there's kid-friendly drag shows. It is possible. And the hate around that shows me that you've never been to a kid-friendly drag show. You've probably been to an adult one and you don't want your kids to go. I don't want kids to go to adult drag shows either. No kids at adult drag shows. But drag shows inherently by themselves are not wrong or bad. It's what some people want to make out of them. So let's talk about book bans, right? Speaking of book bans, where is it? We're banning books here in our schools because it makes sense that we don't want to do this. But as you guys can see, no such thing as a kid drag show. Absolutely there is. Sorry. It is absolutely possible to have a drag show for children. I've been to many of them. I've been to drag show story hour. I've been to a lot. You want to believe it's not possible, but it is. Just like it's okay for you to take your kids to Hooters, drag show story hour is not that bad. So genderqueer, this book right here, I'm holding a banned book. The person who wrote this book never expected it to be a banned book. It was for young adults. It wasn't meant for elementary kids, but because the message is so great, I'll tell you, this book is amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you haven't read it yet, I'll let you borrow it. Absolutely. Drag shows are, disgusting book. Have you actually read it? Probably not. It's a good book. Some of you who are on TikTok may not know, I know a lot of people here on Facebook know, I am the founder of the only safe space in the Panhandle of Florida for LGBTQ youth, right? I got to found the center. And knowing what we've been able to provide for our LGBTQ youth has been amazing. But these book bans are not helping any of us. All of these anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ bills, those aren't helping the state of Florida either. And in fact, neither are taking away our freedoms of reading books, freedoms for trans people to have medical care. So let's talk about the right to, or what is it, the DIE bill. They basically, you are allowed to discriminate medically against anybody you want now based on how you feel. Yes. That is here in the state of Florida, medical discrimination. So nobody's trying to indoctrinate the kids, get off the right wing talking points. Nobody's trying to do that. See, when you get stuck in this cycle and you believe the propaganda and lies, I ask you to stop thinking about the propaganda and lies and actually listen with an open mind to what I have to say. Because I am absolutely kind. I am not a pedophile, groomer, or killer, which I've been called, right? I mean, it's not possible. But gaslighting the bills. Yes, they've been doing a real good job of making all of these bills seem like they are for freedom. But yet, are they not taking away your First Amendment rights? Absolutely they are. And they're against the state constitution of Florida. Now, one thing I didn't even write down to talk about today, but I'm going to bring it up, is the fact that Ron DeSantis is also hiding things that he shouldn't be hiding. Here in the state of Florida, we have what are called the Sunshine Laws. And the Sunshine Laws make everything transparent to the public. Well, Ron DeSantis, number one, got the law changed so he can run for president while being governor, which is against our rules, but he got the rules changed. That's a fascist for you. Number two, he then also is making it so you can't see where he goes. We can't do public records requests on our governor. This is against the Sunshine Laws. But our state attorney general, Ashley Moody, what in the world is she going to do? So I love these people over here, this gentleman that I'm just going to go ahead. It's just easier. Bye-bye. If I don't have to deal with trolls, and if you're going to be rude, there's no reason to be rude. Lead with kindness. I'm not being rude or calling you names. Why do you come on my TikTok and do that to me? Don't know. Why are we letting this happen in the state of Florida? I get asked this from the other states constantly. And I also get told to leave my state, right? To leave my state. I'm not leaving the state. I am not going to leave and let the dictatorship, the fascism, Ron DeSantis, ruin the state of Florida. The state of Florida is kind of funny, right? We have the Don't Say Gay and it's being expanded. But most people I talk to are pretty sure on this. Florida's the gayest place I've ever lived. More gay people live here. So is that why Ron DeSantis has such an issue with LGBTQ people? Because so many live here in the state. That's an issue because we need a lot of these laws that have been put in place are unconstitutional with the Florida Constitution, against amendments and constitutions, and things are going to be overrun and in the court systems and all of that. Freedom, yes, freedom to be allowed to love who we want to love and be able to do what we want to do. But yet these laws that came down this year, like telling me what I can do with my body. But yet if you're a man, you don't have any of those rules. I thought it was my body, my choice. But it's only my body, my choice. If you're a politician and you're a white man, and then you get to decide what I get to do with my body. Yeah, that's not the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where we all have equality and we all have our freedoms and our rights. So I look at this point. You go back to 1964, civil rights in 1964, when it finally got passed. Do we know the history of it? When was the last time you actually went through how we got to the civil rights battle? Well, we're going to get to that here in a little bit as we go through here. The South did not want desegregation. Let's be clear. Even the Southern Democrats didn't even want desegregation, right? The South did not want it. And those same fear and hate tactics that they used back in the 50s and 60s against Black people and to try to stop civil rights is actually what they're doing again right now in the 2020s. It's the same playbook, stoking the same fears and hate, just in a different way. But as history has taught us, hate will not win, right? So when civil rights happened, was anybody here on TikTok or online, were you guys there? Did you stand up for the civil rights? Did you say, hey, I don't have a problem with a Black person using the water fountain. Black people should be allowed to sit anywhere they want on the bus. Black people should be treated equally and paid equally. Did you step up and say that, right? Probably, maybe not. Thank you for whoever just sent that to me on TikTok. But that's where we are, right? I know. I talk to Floridians all the time. They don't want this culture war that our governor has created. But our politicians that are elected right now are beholden to him, and they think they must follow along and do what he says. So they do. And that is the fact of Florida politics. The state, most of the people in our state don't want this hate. They want, number one, for their families to be healthy. Number two, they want their bills to be paid. And number three, they want enough money to not struggle. So every Floridian deserves the freedom to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. Every Floridian. So they don't care. Most people don't care about the fake narrative of the LGBTQ and the drag shows and the lies about the pedophiles and groomers. Because when they watch the nightly news, especially here in my area, who are the people getting arrested for sex crimes? Pastor at a church, Yeah. LGBTQ? No. Realtor in town named Dwight Hicks trying to sleep with underage girls? Yes. An LGBTQ teacher trying to sleep with underage girls? No. But that's the way we want to see it. So we have to look past the hate and see what the truth is. It really is facts over feelings. And I know that I always sit back. I remember when Donald Trump first became president and everybody started calling the Democrats and the liberals snowflakes. That was all a projection. We are super strong because we're sitting here fighting for our rights. We're not snowflakes. It's not our feelings over facts. We use facts to make the case for what needs to happen. Now, things aren't always going to work out the way you want them to. I get it. All the people that I've helped run for office, they haven't all won, but things are changing. So I appreciate everybody here on TikTok having a good old conversation. If you do have any questions for me, I'll come back here in a little bit and see if there is fighting for the rights except for all the amendments. What do you mean? Fighting for what amendments? I actually don't have a problem with the Second Amendment. I think guns are fun. I said that out loud. I've shot a gun. Have you shot a gun? I've been trained on guns. Have you? These are the things. Guns are not inherently bad. But there's no reason in the United States that there should be more guns than citizens. No reason whatsoever. So most Floridians don't care about this. They just want to be, back to the point, they want to have their families that are healthy, they want their bills paid, and they want a little bit of extra money so they're not struggling. It's not hard. Ask any Floridian. They don't want this culture war. And so now is the time for me and you and anybody else who wants to stand up against this hate. Our rights are being taken away. My rights are being taken away. I made a TikTok that said I have less rights now than I had when I was born. I was born in 1975. Roe versus Wade passed in 1973. Here in the state of Florida, I have less rights than I had when I was born. And in fact, as they're taking away my LGBTQ rights, and making DEI be bad, which, by the way, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging is not bad. If you think it's bad, then you probably need to think about why you think it's bad, because inherently it's to help us all be better at this, right? And to work with other people that may not be the same as we are, and to learn from other people, which is so important, to take what you know and to expand it, right? Expand your table, meet new people, learn new things. Nobody's asking you to go to a drag show or telling you to go to a drag show. Nobody is out there telling you to become LGBTQ. Nobody's knocking on your door like the Jehovah's Witnesses, right? They come and knock on my door and they want me to convert. But have you ever had an LGBTQ person do that? Probably not. I'm going to bet no. So, and whoever's trying to join, no joining on my live on TikTok. So our rights are being taken away. So we are back to 1964, right? Let's think about this. Civil rights, 1964. That's where we're back to. So looking at the state of Florida, and this is where it's very interesting. In 2016, the state of Florida passed medical marijuana. I'm sorry, not the state. I'm talking about my county. I'm back at the county numbers here. So let me correct that. Bay County passed medical marijuana at 69.46%. So it seems like Bay County really likes marijuana. Bay County passed Amendment 4 with 56.16% of the vote in 2018. In 2020, though, when it came to raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, Bay County didn't vote for that. 43.9% of people voted for that. Why is it we don't want to pay people a livable wage? What is that? It makes no sense to me. Why wouldn't we want people to have a livable wage and to make decent money to be able to go back to the point, healthy, prosperous, and safe? That's all people want. So I want to look up on TikTok. You guys may not be able to see. I'm going to probably turn you guys around so you can watch it here on my computer. I'm going to go ahead and on my computer, I'm going to pull up and share with you. Let me we are going to present. We're going to share my screen over here. All right, let me see. All right, so I'm going to make all of y'all, I know, making it work. It's hard to see. That's bayvotes.org, everyone, because you can't see it with the, I know, the ring light and all the goodness here. So I'm just going to read it out to you because I can't make it so that you can see it here on TikTok. But if you go to bayvotes.org, you can find all of the information I'm talking about over here. So we have a runoff election here in Panama City and in Lynn Haven. The last election, we were able to get most of the positions get filled, but we are having a runoff for Ward 1 over in Lynn Haven and our mayor race. So, question for everyone. If you have two people running for mayor and one of them is advocating for sex offenders to, let's say, the rule was 2,500 feet away from parks and schools. Sex offenders couldn't live within those distances, but you're advocating for only 1,000 feet. Would you want that person to be your mayor, right? We have a person who's advocating to make it a smaller amount of feet for sex offenders. Because why? Does anybody want to guess why? Why this man running for mayor in Panama City wants to do this? Does anybody know? Because his kid's a sex offender. His son is a registered sex offender. So he is trying to say this. So with that being said, I'm going to go here on the screen and I am going to go to the current candidates and finances. I know. And this is even a runoff election that this guy is running. It's craziness. So here on the screen, you guys are going to see, we are looking at Greg Brunecki and Michael Rohan. That is the runoff elections that we are at here in Panama City. And then over in Lynn Haven, you have your runoff election for, and I'm like, I had it right here, between Brian Gray and Sam Peebles. That is the runoff election over in Lynn Haven. So I know, bet I am a liberal. I believe in equal rights for everybody and kindness is our path forward. So if that makes me a liberal, people have to have their ways of talking about people. So I just can't believe it. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this on this. And I'm going to go back here and I am going to present again. And I'm going to play y'all the video of this guy doing this. I could not believe it. And I'm going to move this around. I'm going to, hold on. First, back to the stream here. I need to know where to go. There we go. There we go. All right. So I'm going to pull this up on the screen here and I'm going to show you guys this video. Now, I don't know where Florida Voice News came from. I really have no idea. But this came across my feed and I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Some people are concerned after learning Panama City mayoral candidate Doc Rowan previously advocated to lower the distance sexual offenders can live from schools.
These people, sexual offenders, do not continue to cause problems. The rate of them committing crimes, again, is extremely low, and the rate of them committing sexual crimes is extremely low. So I think this commission, first of all, four of the five of you knew when this thing was originally passed back in 2006. It went from 1,000 feet to 2,500 feet, where it's at 2,500, and we're trying to get it back to 1,000.
During a 2010 Panama City Commission meeting, Doc wanted to lower the distance sexual offenders must live from schools, from over 2,500 feet away to over 1,000 feet. Currently, state law says sexual offenders and predators cannot live within 1,000 feet of a place where children gather, like schools, parks, and bus stops. But many places have changed it to 2,500 feet. We decided to give Doc a call and ask him why he wants to make the change. And he did speak with me.
Oh, this is the best part, y'all. So if you have been watching and listening, this is actually when they talk to his wife. Oh my God, this is awesome.
But when I brought this topic up, his wife and campaign manager would not let him answer the question. You said in the clip that you should be able to live within 1,000 feet. So
Excuse me, Amber.
Hi.
My name's Thelma.
Yes.
I'm Dr. Rowan's wife, and I'm his campaign manager. The line of questions that you're going down is something that we have gotten very tired of. An event that happened more than 25 years ago. The people in Panama City, certain people who are on the other team, have run this into the ground so far that it's absurd. And this has nothing to do with Dr. Rowan's actions.
I repeatedly asked the campaign manager what the candidate's stance was on whether he wants the distance changed.
I think you're sort of producing black journalism.
No,
just like
I think
everybody
that
else in the world is. But thank you very much for your time, Amber.
I'm simply asking
Goodbye.
why he thinks that.
Goodbye. Thank you. You're not getting any. It's not productive, and Dr. Rowan doesn't need to talk to you.
Is that your
Thank you
statement?
very
Is
much.
that the statement you would like
Goodbye.
to run on this? The runoff mayoral election is May 16th. Vote accordingly, Panama City. And Doc, if your wife ever lets you answer the question, feel free to give me a call and I will happily update this report.
Yeah. Imagine being that person running for mayor and thinking that funny to see the bigotry wrapped in the guise of child protection, right? Yes. All right, I'm going to stop sharing there. Hello everyone, back on the other side of things now that I'm not sharing. So looking at where we are, right? Locally, we need good people to run. You know, what I hear from our local Republicans, and you guys can actually, if anybody wants to go see the hate and the fear that the local Bay County Republicans put out, you can go to their Republican Facebook page, or you can go to the Republican Roundtable, where they actually have some of their events out there so you can listen to them. One of such event from last year was called They Want Your Children, which got canceled from all public venues because, well, they don't want your children, and it was hate and propaganda. So they had to have it at their safe space, the Trump store, and they love when I say that. So I'm sure I'm going to get some hate today for this, but they had to have it there. The lies and propaganda that they say, what our Republicans in our area have is very clear. They have fear, they have blame, and they have propaganda. Fuckery, right? That's all they have. What is the plan to help? For example, with Doc Rowan, when you actually heard him talk about things at any of the debates, guess what? It was always blaming somebody else. Blame, fear, and fuckery. So when you were thinking about that, you're like, so what's your plan? You're unhappy with the marina, but what do you want to do about it? Oh no, you just want to complain. And that's the issue. If you want to run for politics, you need a plan. Blame, fear, and propaganda are only going to get you so far. People are tired of it, especially the younger generation. And if you aren't paying attention, I'm telling you, Gen Z is not putting up with this. Millennials, and Gen X, I'm Gen X. We need to step up more. And I'll say that out loud. Every Gen X woman needs to step up and scream from the rooftops that we have less rights now than when we were born, because it's true. We need to get back our bodily autonomy at the national level, not just the state level. So I mentioned the way they want your children event. So recently they started a whole, and I could show it, but it's on Facebook. You can go look at it. They started this whole campaign about trying to stop our Pride Festival. Oh, please, y'all. I've been to every Pride Festival in this town. And do you want to know what I've seen? Love. I have seen love. I have seen acceptance. And I have seen people having the best time that they have ever had. That's what I've seen. No hate, no fear. But that goes against the narrative that it is a grooming session, right? It's not. It's a show. Drag is performance. It's just like anything else. When you try to take it into somewhere else, you're making it something it's not. drag performances when there are children around are not the same as when there are adult drag performances. And if you think they're the same, come with me to drag shows and I'll show you the difference. Because I don't even know how many drag shows at this point. There's a difference between an adult drag show and a drag show for children. And definitely big difference. So at the Pride events that I have been at, it's kind of funny. There haven't been protesters. And in fact, all of these people that want to say that grooming and pedophilia, whatever's going on, they haven't been to the drag. They haven't been to the Pride Festival. They don't know what's going on because they're not even there. Come to Pride with me. Anybody who wants to come to a Pride with me, let me know. We got Prides coming up. It's June. It's going to be Pride Month, right? We have Prides coming up. If you want to go to a drag show, if you want to go to Pride, let me know. I will take you there because there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing bad goes on, right? Nothing does. So a story that struck me from a photographer that we had at Pride about how joyful people were and how people were just happy to be out there and be themselves. You know, it's easy for them to have fun and enjoy themselves because there's nobody there telling them what you're doing is wrong. Because let's be clear, God loves gay people. There is nothing wrong with being LGBTQ. God loves gay people. And I know somebody's going to take this and put it somewhere, but it's true. It's true. God doesn't hate anyone. It's people who hate other people. And that's where we need to work on that. So this particular photographer also takes photos at other events. And you know what he said? People at, say, the Gulf Coast Jam, they're drunk, they're mad, and they're not happy at the event. Because what do drunk and mad people do? They get in fights and they yell and they scream. That's actually why I don't like going to Gulf Coast Jam. I mean, the amount of people, the amount of drunkenness, I mean, the things that happen, it just, no, not for me. So when you think about if that is your normal, right? Being in these drunk, hate-filled, non-happy places where people are complaining because it's crowded, it's totally different from Pride. Nobody cares. We make room for you. We make room for everyone. So if you want to join a Pride, let me know, because Pride is about love, acceptance, and you can be you. That is the answer. So God loves Pride celebration, and God wants kindness for all of us. Now's the time to stand up and be the example of what we need, everyone. So beginning in June, I'm going to start discussing, I mentioned the Pride, I've mentioned the politics. In June, I'm going to be holding a meeting, and we're going to be talking about local politics. Everywhere needs good people to run for something. And here in Bay County, I have a list. I know what positions come available when, and I know the timing. So we need good people to run for something. We need good people to be there and to do things that are going to work for our communities, right? That's really what we need. So Karen, California would love you. Well, guess what? I am a native Floridian and I'm fighting for the state of Florida because I don't believe in fascism. I believe that we can save the state of Florida because Ron DeSantis is a joke outside of Florida. And there's some history that you can go back and think about on the 60s, which we're going to talk about. I keep hinting that we're going to get there. But at the beginning of June, if anybody wants to learn about Bay County politics, want to run for something, I'm going to be having an in-person meeting over probably at the library. And we're going to talk about all these things. And I'm going to be there to answer questions and talk about what we got going on. So now more than ever, we need good people who believe that every Floridian deserves the freedom to be what? Healthy, prosperous, and safe. That's all the Democrats want. That's all the Democrats want. So why have the culture wars? I've worked on more than a dozen campaigns. I've been able to win some and I've lost some. In fact, I ran for Panama City Beach City Council, Ward 4, back in 2020. And he won by just 333 votes. Considering it was COVID and he never had to debate me, I had a plan. I still don't know to this day what his plan is. At this point, I think it's all of their plans just not to get caught by the FBI doing something wrong, because they fired the city manager and there was a bunch of things going on. But that's how it goes sometimes. So did somebody, oh, I love it. I love this. Somebody doesn't even know. Keep talking. I think somebody tried to call me a whore. I think that's what they tried to call me over here on TikTok, but that's okay. I just block them because, yeah, there's no reason for it. Amount of trolls on TikTok, which is kind of fun, but the amount of trolls on all the other ones too, it is what it is. So I am an unapologetic woman who believes in equal rights for all. I believe that everybody deserves to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. I mean, honestly, we don't deserve the discrimination. We don't do the things that need to be. Okay, whoever this Matt person is, they're not all extremist Democrat movements. So this person, Matt, over here on TikTok. So Matt, back in the 60s, if you would have been around for the civil rights, would you have said that Black people need to stay in the back of the bus and not eat at the same counter as white people? I want to know. Please tell me, Matt. You want to say all of these are extremist Democrat movements? Tell me, how would you have treated Black people? How would you have treated a Black person who wanted equal rights back in the 1950s and 60s? You're probably one of those people who didn't want the schools desegregated, and you probably didn't want your white friends around Black people, right? See, wants to make a comment, but then he doesn't actually comment back. That's the way it works. So, what fun politics is. So, as I mentioned in my book, and I kind of did the little thing real quick on the book earlier, Business Case for Kindness, which is right here. Speaking of which, Business Case for Kindness, and back behind me. We are teeter-tottering between things right now. Are we going to be a command and control culture? Or are we going to be a more nurturing, equitable culture that's kind? That really is where we are. And Democrats are the ones fighting for the more equitable culture, while the Republicans are fighting to go back in history, which we're going to talk about now. We can choose. We are at this pivotal point, right? We get to choose. Do we want the command and control fascists? Or do we want a more equitable, nurturing culture? So in the 1960s, the rise of the racially identified GOP is not just a tale of latent bigotry. Instead, it was a strategic decision to use racism to become the white man's party. Let me repeat that. The rise of the racially identified GOP in the 1960s was not a tale of just latent bigotry. Instead, it was a strategic decision to use racism to become the white man's party. That's who the Republicans did in the 1960s. Well, we're in the 2020s now, so what are we thinking? In today's speak, the rise of the non-LGBTQ identified GOP is not a tale of latent bigotry. Instead, a strategic decision to use homophobia and transphobia to become the straight white man's party. That's where we're at, everyone. The rise of the non-LGBTQ identified GOP is not a tale of just latent bigotry. Instead, they've made a strategic decision to use homophobia and transphobia to become the straight white man's party. I have a question. I don't know. I know that we did have a gay Republican run here in our area who was actually, he didn't get close, but he did run in our area, but he wasn't from our area either. He came down here because he thought it was Trump country and he thought that if he loved Trump, he would win. It didn't work out really well. And in fact, I don't know where he went. He ran. He said he was going to stick around and help our area, but he hasn't done it. But yet, that's who we're supposed to want to run for things? Probably not. So, formed the 7 Mountain Mandate. Yes, 7 Mountain Mandate. The religiousness of all of this, right? Because they want to make it that only one religion is right or one thought process is right. But that's not what we have here in the United States. We are a melting pot. We say we are a melting pot, but are we really? When we have such hatred towards Black and brown folks, or folks that have uteruses, or people who don't love the same way somebody else loves, are we really a melting pot? Or are we just a place that we're trying to figure it out? And that's why we are back at the same places we were in the 1960s with the civil rights. We are back there right now. We are back there today, and we have fights to be done, right? So let's look at how the similarities work with each other. In the 1960s, Republicans' hostility towards the integration in the schools of Black people. It was Republicans, not Democrats. Some Southern Democrats, which honestly, when we say Southern Democrats, most Southern Democrats were probably more on the Republican side of things, as we know. So Republican hostility towards integration in schools of Black people. Well, guess what? We now have Republican hostility of LGBTQ people in the schools and talking about their lives. Correlation. Number 2, they inflamed resentment towards initiatives to help the non-whites. You know, it's kind of funny because we think that we want to help the less fortunate. We did, until the less fortunate included Black America, right? The Republican Party had no problem with welfare when it came to white people. But when Black people got the rights, that's when they're like, oh, no. Then these Black people are going to get things that they don't deserve. White people deserve them, but Black people don't. The Black people were the slaves, but that's not how we interpret it. So we are promised many ways about a mythical past, right? This mythical past that we want to make great again here in the United States. So what is it that we want to make great again, right? The patriarchal society where men work and women stay home with the kids while others are our slaves, and we stay in our lily white neighborhoods away from the criminals. Is that what we want? You know, being a white person in the South, especially a white woman, people think they can talk to me certain ways and the stuff that comes out of their mouths. And I always will call you out when you're saying something hateful, something bigotry, something that's going to offend somebody. I'm going to call you out on it. This is how it goes, because I am not going to allow discrimination in front of me. If you do, that's you, but we probably need to start working on that and making that better. So what do we want to go back to in this mythical past to make America great again? Do we want to go back to discrimination? Well, we are. Do we want to go back where women can't have jobs or are forced to have babies? That's where we're going to. So here in Florida, we're anti-DEIB, and we don't care about your medical, right? We don't care about your, oh, yes, the back of my clipboard is so fun. Women don't owe you shit. You know, it's one of these things that you can see it happening, but if it doesn't affect you, maybe you're not so worried about it. And that's where I want all of you to think about this differently. All of this comes to all of us, right? In this book, The Business Case for Kindness, I created what is called the KRT model, which is the kindness, respect, and trust model. And this model gives us everything we need for our path forward, because leading with kindness is the way. So if you would like to run for something, if you are interested in coming to the meeting in June, I'm going to be putting that out, as well as every Wednesday, I'm going to be live on here as well, talking about leadership for tomorrow, because leadership, what we have today with the command and control culture, isn't going to work for tomorrow's youth. And we know this, and the facts are out there, but we got to move a little faster so that we can get where we need to go on this. So If any of your companies or you need any diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging training, leadership training, process efficiencies, which is kind of the side thing that I do. I was able to save telecom more than $250 million, which if you look at this point is more than two in the billions, the money that I was able to save them by process efficiencies, because processes matter. And when you change processes to be kind to both the employee and the customer, it's amazing what will happen. So my name is Cherie Krim, and I ran for City Council in Panama City Beach in 2020. I am the founder of Be Kind to All. I am here to help political candidates here in the Florida Panhandle, and I want all of y'all to join me in creating a more kind and inclusive and, well, an area that works for everybody here in the Panhandle. Calling us the Redneck Riviera just means you want to stay racist, homophobic, transphobic, and sexist. The Panhandle of Florida is not the Redneck Riviera anymore. And being called a redneck is not a compliment, because redneck was started because of bigotry. But yet we don't want to talk about that here in the Panhandle. So on my website, there is a free download. And this is, I mentioned about having hard conversations and what I do with that. I wrote a book. It's free. It's free download on the website. It's called Activating Kindness as Your Superpower. And you guys say, I got coffee on my copy. Coffee on my copy, because I've had it for a while. Activating Kindness as Your Superpower. Download it for free. It will help you. Number one, be kind to yourself. Number two, be kind to others. And number three, activate kindness as your superpower and help you have conversations that will help us in our society be so much more kinder. So, Sandra, thank you. Have a good night. I love this Matt person who doesn't answer my question at all. But thank you, Matt. When I asked you a simple question, you didn't bother to respond. But now you want to come back and complain about things. I love TikTok trolls. They are so fun. So I'm going to stay over here on TikTok for a couple more minutes. If there's any questions, I have everybody over here. Stay tuned. Next Monday, we'll talk politics here, Florida Panhandle politics. Okay. Bye, y'all.